Hello, everyone. Welcome back to week two's Jaguar reaction vid. Unfortunately, this one goes down as a loss as the Chiefs beat the Jags in Jacksonville 17-9. And yes, I have some thoughts. Not overly annoyed or pissed off, obviously, because this is a game that in the preseason would be pegged as a loss for me. I didn't think the Jags were on the Chiefs level. I always thought they were a tier below the top three in the AFC. Although right now with the Bengals, yikes. Um, but this was a game they could have won. This is a game they definitely could have won. And defensively, I think the Jags played pretty well. There was a Calavion Jason sighting. He got sacked in this game. That was good. But they were getting some pressure. They forced some turnovers. They forced three turnovers. The Chiefs were beating themselves with 12 penalties in this game. They held the Chiefs to only 4 for 13 on third downs, although the Chiefs did make both of their fourth downs. And that and compared to 3 for 12 for the Jags on third and 0 for 2 for the fourth downs. And honestly, that's kind of where we are here. Good teams versus great teams. Super Bowl caliber teams versus a playoff caliber team, not necessarily Super Bowl caliber. I think you saw that divide with these two teams today. Yes, there is probably concern if you're a Chiefs fan with how ugly the offense has been for 2 weeks now. I think there's a lot of teams that have that same problem, but the Jags did relatively fine. They struggled with the rushing game a bit against of the Chiefs. They gave up 101 yards rushing, 4.6 per carry. That's not great. But the Jags were 0 for 3 in the red zone in terms of touchdowns. That's not good. I mentioned the third down issues. This is something that I mentioned last week with third down issues. I was worried about that. You get away with that, the Colts. You didn't get away with that against the Chiefs. And then the O-line just struggling with Chris Jones and pass protection all day long. Giving up 4 sacks. Just not good. Not good. Trevor did fumble twice, losing one. I think there was a QB exchange issue there, but the Jags also turned the ball over once in this game. No touchdowns for the Jags. All 3 coming on field goals, including from a first and goal situation for the one. They couldn't punch it in, and that's really the story of the game. Christian Kirk having 11 catches for 110 yards, coming back strong. Ridley only 2 catches, 32 in this game. Evan Ingram had a nice game as well, 6 for 57. So guys did have good games, but the rushing game was terrible. ETN only had 40 yards and only on 12 carries. Look, they only rushed the ball 18 times this game, and that's not enough. This game was never out of hand. I think they abandoned the run early. It's something that I mentioned last year. It felt like they abandoned the run at times really early when they got down, and felt like they did that again today. But this game is all about, look, the defense didn't come up with timely stops in the fourth quarter. This is true. If they could have got one more stop in the final drive, maybe. But, even then, the Jags couldn't get a timely third down when they needed it, or a timely fourth down when they needed it. There's a lot of that. And the Jags, up until the final two drives, and they only had one. They had 11 play drive that went 38 yards somehow, and that which ended in a sack naturally. The Jags just, they had their last field goal. They had, like I said, first and goal from one. They ran a play for Trevor on the left end. It just got blown up and went for -3 yards, and then went two passes in a row. There was no Tank Bigsby in this game. Clearly, he's in the doghouse at this point. It just was not a good game for the Jags offensively, and I think now we can say there should be concerns offensively, whether it's play calling, whether it's offensive line issues. And the offensive line issues are definitely there. Brandon Scherf did play in this game, which was nice to see. I said last week I wouldn't be surprised to miss several weeks. I had good reason for that. It looked like a nasty injury, but unfortunately the Jags did lose this game. Look, losing this game is not the end of the world. Maybe the Chiefs' defense is just that good. I mean, they held the Lions pretty in check all last week too. Another high-powered offense. Maybe the Chiefs are better than we think on defense. And we gotta give credit where credit's due. But right now, the Jags look disoriented, discombobulated last week against the Colts until late too. So this is not a 1 week thing. This is now we're in week 2. Week 1, weirdness. Can't take anything for at face value. Now we're in week 2. Now you're seeing a little bit of a trend here. Hey, you know what? We got Houston next week. Let's see what happens against Houston. If we still have some of these same problems, then we need to really call out the red flags here. Again, the Jags losing to the Chiefs is not a surprise. That was probably predicted. But again, the Chiefs made timely plays and the Jags didn't. This is the difference between a great team and a good team. And the Chiefs are great. The Jags are good. The Jags want to get great. They're not there yet, folks. They're not there yet. I'm sorry. I hate to say it, but it's the truth. But credit to the defense. I do want to talk positive. Although Mahomes had a 29-4, 1-for-3.
Broncos 24. Blitz again on the way. Here's the handoff to Robinson. Steps over a fallen tackler inside the 10, inside the 5. Touchdown, Washington. Touchdown run of 15 yards for Brian Robinson.
And we've noticed some poor tackling here, especially in the second half.
Only 1 sack in the game. Mahomes is notoriously hard to sack, but there was plenty of pressures. Got 4 other QB hits going. Had pressures. I think the defense played well. The safeties played well in this game. I liked where the defense was in this game, but can't win games with 9 points, especially against the Chiefs. So there needs to be better. As of now, the Jags are the lowest scoring team in week 2 in terms of the score for the week, with 3 games remaining. I didn't really have a doubleheader or 2 Monday night games, by the way. That's a bit strange. So maybe that will change, but not a good week for the Jags with a 9-point showing on offense. I know Doug Pearson's not calling plays. Maybe you revisit that at this point because his offense seems disjointed. It doesn't seem right. Something's going on, and somebody needs to figure this out because for the Jags, they got winnable games coming up, but man, that could have been a win. That absolutely could have been a win, but unfortunately, it wasn't. You got the Texans at home, and then you have your 2 London games, the Falcons, who are currently 2-0, right? Yeah, they're currently 2-0, and then you have the Bills, who may be a turnover machine, but they do play them in London. Both the Falcons and the Bills are in London, to be precise. Back-to-back weeks, and then they got the Colts again. Then you got at Saints. I think that game's gonna be tough, and then at Steelers. That stretch in October. I remember October was the rough month for Jacksonville last year. I think is going to be the tough month again for Jacksonville. It's just it does not lend itself to a very strong October potentially. So getting wins early in September, banking them, and getting out October at least 500 or somewhere near 500 would be a absolute win, especially with the Niners right after that, after the bye. But right now, with all that said, going back to this game real quick, I'm not disheartened by the loss. I'm sad. I'm disheartened a little bit with the offense, but I'm not overall disheartened. Again, this isn't a game you expect to win necessarily. It's the Chiefs. If it's Mahomes and Randy Reed on that side of the ball, you're not expecting to win that ball game. Sorry, you're just not. But there is a bit of disappointment here because it was winnable and you didn't deliver, and you had an opportunity to. This could be big down the road. There were some people who thought Jags had shot the number 1 seed based off their schedule and being the AFC South and not being that strong. I think we can put that to bed now. I know 1 loss is not but I just don't think the Jags are in the Chiefs level. I don't think they're in the Bills level. I don't think that's heresy to say that. and that's fine. I don't think that's inherently a bad thing for the Jags. You have somewhere to go. But overall, again, there was some positives here, but a lot of it mostly on the defensive side of the ball. The defense is playing fine. I would like to get more actual sacks, preferably, but right now, defense is playing good. And if they keep this up and the offense does start clicking, the Jags will be a tough team. So I'm not ready to sit here and say it's over, the season's over. It's one game, folks. It is one game. It is what it is. You're going to lose some, and that's okay. Want to make this one short, but go Jags. Hopefully next week against Houston's better. Let's get a get-right game here against the not-so-good Texans. A team the Jaguars have historically struggled with, but last year we did sweep them and actually beat them for the first time in like 5-6 years or something stupid like that. It was a long fucking time. But hopefully next week we get back on the right side of the win column. Is that the statement? I don't know. But join me then for next week's Jags React video. Until next time, everybody. Deuces.